Hello, everyone. I'd like to call the meeting of Public Services Committee to order. First item on the agenda is Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you very much. At this time, I'd like to ask for a motion to adopt the agenda.
What a difference a day makes.
So move, Wallace.
Excuse me, Chairman, if you can sit down. We start a meeting. Motion was made by Wallace. Any support?
Zinner.
Supported by Zinner. Any discussion? Please vote.
Motion passes 12-0.
Nail biter. The next item on the agenda is public participation. This is the first opportunity for public participation is for those who wish to speak for a maximum of 3 minutes on an item which is on today's agenda. The second opportunity for public participation is for those who wish to speak on any issue. And looking around, anybody from the public. Public participation is closed. At this point, we'd like to go to department recommendations. 5A, Professional Services Task Agreement, WSP Michigan. This is the fiber optic communication. If I can have a motion recommended full board.
So move.
Support Van Sickle.
Moved by Vice Chair Song and Commissioner Van Sickle supported. Brian, welcome, and please don't take 4 hours.
I'll try not to, not even close. Good afternoon, Commissioners. So this is a request for approval to provide professional services to our traffic department, in particular for our fiber network that we have been installing and continuing to install for our communications through the entire Macomb County region network for that connection to our signals, that direct connect. So we are proud of the fact that we own our own infrastructure. We don't rely on AT&T or others as far as modem connections. We have direct connects to our facilities, which is a lot more secure and a lot more timely as far as getting that information back to our technicians at our Comtech Center. So this is a company that we've went out for RFQs for in the past. They're very familiar with our system and have worked with us in the past also. So this is basically a contract in the amount of $126,080.96 for your approval.
Thank you very much. We do have some questions. Vice Chair Song.
Thank you, Chair. Hey, Brian.
Good afternoon.
How many miles of fiber optic do we have that we own?
I don't have that number right here myself, but I can get that for you.
Okay. And we just came back Friday from our Tri-County Summit. One of the topics was broadband infrastructure. And so when I think of, fiber optic in our own infrastructure, I wonder how we can expand that, or maybe not, because, there are some concerns about different providers connecting to the same infrastructure. So is that something that you see could be a potential in the future?
I guess first and foremost, we're looking at our facilities. We are partnering with some of the existing infrastructure that MDOT has as far as their conduits that we occupy or are pulling some of our fiber through their system. So it's a combined services or shared as far as collaboration with ourselves and MDOT even in that realm. So we are utilizing every facility we can to minimize the cost as we move forward with this infrastructure to our benefit.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner Van Sickle.
Thank you, Chair. Hi, Brian.
Good afternoon.
Are there any new right-of-ways that we need to do this?
We've established everything in our current right-of-way. There is a location, and I'd have to go back and check exact location where we would have potentially had to have acquired some right-of-way. That's still in discussion as far as alternate routes to get around that, but we're currently working within all our jurisdictional right-of-way.
If somebody refuses to give you a right-of-way, or is that something that you force because of being public, or? I mean,
we can show necessity, and obviously we don't choose to go all the way to condemnation, but condemnation is a avenue if we deem that absolutely necessary to move forward with our infrastructure. So we try and negotiate and get the property that we need reasonably, but we do always have the condemnation due to necessity to fall back on.
So it sounds like you don't anticipate any problems when doing this.
No. We've been finding a way to work within our jurisdictional right-of-way. This one particular location, we're looking at a different avenue to avoid having to actually purchase additional right-of-way or get an easement.
Good, thank you. Thank you, Chair.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much. Chair Brown, you now have the floor.
Thank you. Yeah, Brian, at the Tri-County Summit, there was talk about utilizing more than what's presently been done, the conduit under the road, the cabling, and sometimes when you're putting in roads to make accommodations for additional cabling to come through to help expand the network. Is that something that your engineers even think about when they're designing these roads? And do they, they put stuff in there, a certain amount of conduit that runs stuff through, but or maybe some of it's already there. But can you speak to that a little bit?
Sure. Obviously, there's a thought, obviously, look towards the future. So we're not just putting in the minimum amount that we think that we currently need. We do look forward as far as additional enhancement or additional, storage or capacity. But obviously, at some point, you have to look at cost and what that cost is as far as what we can handle now versus what we want to have and potential in the future. So we do have, a forecast in the future of, not just putting in the bare minimum, but something that we have in addition. And obviously, MDOT has infrastructure also, whether it be conduit or the fiber itself. And, we'll continue to partner with them as far as access to conduit that's already existing or potential fiber that might be useful to us that they might own or have.
How big is the conduit under an average road? Is it 6 inches? Is it smaller? Is it larger?
I believe it's anywhere from 4 to 6 inches, typical.
Yeah. What if we marketed our conduit to providers that want to use it? Because, they want to use our system, or use our grid. We could charge them for running fiber along it. Is that something that has been done? Or
we currently don't do that. I guess we would have to look at the implications as far as, repairs and, liability of that with other providers accessing the same conduit. Obviously, we do it as governmental with us and MDOT, but as far as private entity, that's something that could be looked into in the future.
Serving on the Trail Commission, anytime someone wanted to cross a right-of-way or wanted to the right way of the road, there was a fee to do that because there's expenses and all the rest. And but I never really thought about what they wanted to run it up and along the trail. So something to think about, I guess. But because we're trying to expand the networks in communities in urban areas as well as rural areas, and maybe it's one of the ways that we maybe could do that.
Yeah, and just an example, as part of our Innovate Mound project, we have multiple conduit that are going through the median area, north and south. Part of it is for our facilities, but part of it is for future expansion and necessity as far as alternative fibers or our own fiber if we need to pull additional fiber through that section.
Yeah. Well, Mound Road will be the cutting edge technology that we're told, so hopefully.
For sure.
So awesome. All right. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you very much. Seeing no further questions, please vote.
Motion passes 12-0.
Still stay, we should have had you here yesterday, Brian. At the end. Cost sharing, this is item 5B, cost sharing participation agreement, City of Sterling Heights, traffic control device on Dobry and Ryan. If I can have a motion to recommend to full board.
Support
Moved by
Van
Wallace,
Sickle. Support
by Van Sickle. Thank you very much, Brian.
Yes, this is a cost share and participation agreement with the City of Sterling Heights. They had approached us with the want and desire to improve the signal at Dobry and Ryan, I believe to install pedestrian low-level signals. So this will be no cost to the county, but it is an agreement that they would pay the anticipated $40,000 cost to upgrade that particular signal at that intersection. So seeking approval of this cost share.
Seeing no questions, please vote.
Motion passes 12-0.
I'm going to take 5C, D, and E combined. Nope. 5C and D combined. Never mind. Should have done this in the beginning. Contract, 5C, contract for Pamar Enterprises, Garfield Road, 22 to 23 Mile Road. If I can have a motion to recommend 5C to full board.
Support.
Moved by Hall, support by Van Sickle.
Yes, this is a request to approve a contract with Pamar Enterprises for the extension of Garfield Road from 22 to 23 Mile Road. We were approached by the Township with a request to extend this road. We felt the benefit of extending this as far as our future north-south traffic, as far as alleviating that with the surrounding area. So this is a project that will move forward in the amount of $4,579,946.52. This is a local road, new local road section, so it would be a split of 60-40, 60% for the Township, 40% for the Department of Roads. So our county cost would be $1,831,978.61. Seeking approval of this contract.
Thank you. We do have some questions. Commissioner Sabatini.
Thank you, Chair. Hey, Brian.
Good afternoon.
Just looking at the bid list here, these are just all over the place. I can't believe it. For an estimate of $4.3 million, and the highest bidder was $6.7 million. Is this what you're seeing right now with your bids, just all over the board?
Yeah, I mean, any particular time frame and year, we bid this out. You know, so you get some contractors that have a full plate and just bid high in case that there's others that are fuller with their program and bid it in hopes that they get it. So there is a wide variety of ranges that we get. Some contractors are hungrier than others and don't have as much work and need to bid it cheaper so they can keep their workers working. So,
In regards to what the estimate was and what we're proposing here to take it at, glad to see it's within reason.
yes, we've seen, luckily, for actually our road projects, we haven't seen huge increases as we have with our bridge projects. Bridges have been more the 20% plus over as far as costs, but our road projects have come in, luckily, more within reason as far as any additional costs, lower estimate.
Great. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you, Commissioner Zinner.
I was now successful in pulling my name off. Thank you. Sorry.
I'm sorry. Oh, okay. Brian, kind of, sorry, we got a couple others. Vice Chair Song.
Thank you, Chair. Brian, can you explain, you said this is a new local road, and so the cost sharing is 60-40? Could you explain that?
Yes.
Because Garfield is a county, it's a county road.
That's correct. So there's a couple different designations of roadway under our jurisdiction as a county. So there's primary roads, which are all the main thoroughfares that get the large volume of traffic per day. And then there's ones that are considered local that have smaller volumes in our local collector roads that flow into the primary. So as far as cost shares with the cities, townships, and villages, if it's a primary road, obviously we split that cost share at 50-50. As local roads, which we only have local roads within townships, because the cities and villages, unless we have a primary running through their city or village, all the rest of the roads are theirs, because they are Act 51 agencies themselves as far as cities and villages. So, but outside that, anything outside of the primary roads in townships are considered local. Otherwise, they're considered private roads, which we don't deal with. So that would be a 60-40 percentage, 60 on township, 40% for us.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
You're
Thank you,
welcome.
Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner Van Sickle.
Thank you, Chair. Brian, when you say this is a new road, I take that to mean that there's no road there now.
That is correct.
Do we own the property?
The discussions prior to moving forward with this is that the township would secure and get all of the right-of-way necessary for the extension of this new roadway.
So
Which
there's not
was-
going to be any cost for that
Correct.
to us?
Correct.
It's
Yes.
all on the township?
Yes.
Okay, and what's the likelihood that they'll be able to do that?
We have secured the section from 22 to 23. I think there's less than a handful of, well, maybe only one or two for the north sections. So this will obviously go from 22 to just south of 25 to connect that thoroughfare all the way through and go to the north with the existing roadway that's already there. So I think they have one or two parcels, I think, in the north section that they still have to secure and acquire.
Don't see any problems, though.
No,
Okay, good. Thank you. Thank you, Chair.
thank you.
Thank you very much, Brian. Going back to what Commissioner Sabatini said, when I was looking at it, had the engineer's cost is about 15% lower than the lowest bid. Are we taking that into consideration on future estimates as you go out to bid?
We look continuously as far as what our bids are coming in at and what we estimate our different quantities and pricing at. Sometimes it's a guesstimate as far as where the market's at. Depends on sometimes the beginning, mid, or end of the year when stuff's bid out, and how
People got to make their quotas.
correct, and how busy the contractors are and what's already on their plate.
Fantastic. Seeing no other comments or questions, please vote.
Someday they'll pave roads up in my community.
Motion passes 12-0.
If we can get the match, we'll be more than happy to do it.
All right, we're on to 5D, cost share agreement with Macomb Township, Garfield Road Construction, 22 to 23 Mile Road. Is there anything to add from the last comment?
No, this is just the cost share agreement with Macomb Township as far as
You
the,
should have combined them. Any questions? Seeing no speakers, please vote. Oh, I need a motion. Recommend full board. Moved by Kraft, support by Wallace. Please vote. Thank you.
Motion passes 12-0.
Next item, 5E. This is a contract with Davey Resource Group, pre-construction for Innovate Mound landscaping project. If I can have a motion to recommend to full board? Moved by Wallace, support by Nard. Go ahead, Brian.
yes, this is seeking approval for the contract with Davey Resource Group. This is the design service that would be provided for the landscaping of Innovate Mound from 696 to 59. So we opted through concerns with the cities of getting actually what we wanted as far as landscaping in the Innovate Mound project versus lumping this into the Innovate Mound project itself. With the design build platform that we obviously built or are building Innovate Mound, the contractor has a lot of leeway in what they supply. As long as it meets the requirements, they supply what they have available, and it might not be what you truly want. Being that we had a funding gap of $32 million to start and a little bit larger now as we progress, we were going to have to pay 100% of some cost eventually. So it was decided with concurrence with the cities to separate the landscaping and do that separately under a CMGC contract to get more of what the cities and the department wanted as far as actual landscaping items. So this is actually the design phase. So Davey will coordinate with HNTB, which is the design firm that's overseeing Mound for us as far as contracted services. They will work with the contractor that's currently constructing Mound Road and come up with a design plan to be able to put out for bid. So this is the design service with Davey in the amount of $51,367.64. Obviously, we have a half 50% share in that, with the rest of the 2/3 being City of Sterling Heights and then the other third being City of Warren. So seeking approval of this contract with Davey Resource Group.
Thank you. We have a few questions. Commissioner Zinner?
Thank you, Chair. Brian, is this a new cost to you, or is this part of your cost, and this is part of the money that you have for this?
This was part of the original estimate that was submitted, and it was broken out to do as a separate contract to Innovate Mound.
All right, so it's not a new, yeah, that was my question. All right.
No, the original submittal was to have everything included with the Innovate Mound project, including landscaping. At a later date, it was decided with us and the cities to break it out as far as a separate contract and perform the contract and services this way.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Chair.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Commissioner Hall?
Thank you, Chair. So who owns the final approval of what landscaping would go in? The reason I'm asking, if you drive down 696 in between Gratiot and Groesbeck, whatever MDOT put in there doesn't work.
It would be ultimately us in conjunction with the cities.
Okay, so it's a dual approval?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. That's all I have, Chair.
Thank you, Chairman Brown.
The county's got a greening at Macomb initiative going on. We just received $300,000 over the winter to help plant trees around the county, help green it. Is there any coordination with what they're doing there to possibly pinch some money out of that program to supplement, the landscape design there? Maybe something you think about.
We could definitely get information for that. When it comes to landscaping, we have to be very cognizant that, it is in the median area, which is, pushed farther off
trees,
from the thoroughfare, the through lanes, or edge of metal. When it comes to trees, obviously those are obstacles that can be hit if somebody goes off-road. We have to be very cognizant of what we do put in there as far as landscaping and potential hazards to the motoring public. So we look towards more shrubs and bushes and some plantings and this and that that are more hardy and are not going to be affected by the elements and hot, cold, this and that. So that's why we went with this type of project and process to get actually what we want versus the contractor determining at the lowest level what they can supply as far as what would meet the qualifications and requirements through the design build process.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you, Commissioner Van Sickle.
Thank you, Chair. Brian, is this for all of Mound Road project, or is this for the first half that they're primarily working on now, 15 to 20?
No, this would be for the entire length of the project. We would start this next year on the north half because obviously the north half will be constructed and done after this year, and the contractor will be doing the roadway down at the south half. So this will be staged and phased in 2 different years. So we'll do the north half next year and then follow up with the south half after that. But it'll be the whole length of the project from 696 to 59.
Okay, because this, coincidentally, it's about $1 a foot. Does this, the deliverable on this is just plans, or will personnel from this company also oversee or review the actual plantings to make sure that we get what was designed?
This contractor or this contract will oversee the design. I will have to look at the implementation. I believe it should also include the oversight. I think the way this is written, that the actual, because we did just get upon RFQs that were required or asked for as part of this process, I believe Davey was the only one to submit as far as an RFQ proposal as far as the contractor. And I believe it's written in there that this contractor has an opportunity to bid on the actual construction itself when it came to the second phase of this. So,
Have they been given any kind of preliminary budget? Because depending upon the plantings you choose, the budget can range.
yes,
quite a bit.
we have a dollar value. I believe originally there was, I want to say 2.5 to 3 million that was set aside for landscaping. So
For the whole project?
Yes, we will definitely have a budget that we are not going to look at exceeding.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Commissioner Zinner.
Thank you, Chair. I forgot to say, I wanted to tell you, I try to avoid busy areas, but a couple times recently I've been down the north part of Mound where it's been working, and for all the aggravation and people have gone through who live in that area, it just looks wonderful. I can't imagine when the greenery's there, but the guys worked hard and it really looks great. Thanks. Thanks,
Thank you,
Chair.
Commissioner.
Thanks, Brian. Question I have, when you were first presenting this item, you mentioned that the Innovate Mound is $32 million gap, so it's higher cost by 32 million than originally projected? Or 32 over funding?
No, so when we originally applied for the infra grant, and we originally submitted total contract cost estimate of 217 million. So the infra grant maximum was 60% participation on federal funding, which meant that would be 130 million that we were seeking as far as the infra grant. So we were awarded just shy of 98 million, which was 32 million shy of the 60% full funding through the infra grant. So That's what I was referencing as far as a funding gap to start off with.
That makes me feel better. Thank you. Seeing no other questions, please vote.
Motion passes 12-0.
Thank you, Commissioners. Have a great Thanksgiving.
Thank you, Brian. Happy Thanksgiving. This time I'd like to take 6A and B to combined. These are correspondence, a letter from Commissioner Zinner, and the Macomb County Department of Roads item. If I can have a motion for 6A and B combined.
So moved.
Receive and file. Moved by Vice Chair Song, support by Commissioner Hall. Any discussion? Seeing no speakers, please vote.
Motion passes 12-0.
Thank you very much. Public participation is item number 7, the opportunity for public participation for those who wish to speak 3 minutes or more on any issue, anyone that wants to. Looking forward to next year when we do go via video. Seeing no public, we have no public participation. We're going to move on to number 8, Commissioners. Commissioner Zinner.
Thank you. Yesterday, one of the commissioners made a statement tying a couple things together in relation to me, and I didn't get a chance to answer part of it because it got a little busy, and I forgot about it, and I thought about it this afternoon. In regard to when there was a meeting about things and someone from Channel 4 came here, I would call it an accusation, but I'm not worried about it, that someone from the board called Channel 4. There was no one from the board that called Channel 4. There was no one from this building that called Channel 4. A citizen called Channel 4. So a simple asking me or someone can avert something like that. It's a simple question. But it was a citizen who's free to do whatever they want. But it wasn't me. It wasn't anyone here. Thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Commissioner Kleinfeld.
Thank you, Chair. First of all, apologize for this cell phone. That is a rare mistake for me, and I was obviously so shocked. I was fumbling all over the place, so I apologize for that. Yesterday I was... Oh, that's hilarious. Now that's just...
And it's a scam.
That's funny, because he gave me a look when my phone went off. He gave me the evil eye. I was so surprised and angry about not having any information on that first agenda item that in my attempt to talk about what I felt was a lack of inclusiveness in how we communicate, it came across as if commissioners were doing something nefarious. That was not my intent, and so I apologize for that. Also, commissioners do have the right to meet in groups with any commissioners that they choose to talk about issues. I was just desperately trying to get back to the days where that wasn't based on a D or a R. Those were left at the door. I would love to see that back in the future. But anyway, I apologize for the way that it came across because that was not my intent. And that's all I have. Thank you.
So noted and so appreciated. Anyone else would like to speak? Seeing no one else, Commissioners' comments are closed.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn by Vice Chair Song, supported by Kraft. Please vote.
Romano would be proud of you, Farrington.
All I know is I'm already 17 meeting.
Good job, Chairman. I guess that was at you, Joe.
Motion passes 12-0.